Hey everyone, it's Rowdy, and we have finally made it. We are here with the Humanities Season 1 finale. So here we go, we are here at Season 1, Episode 8, Till My Last Breath. Here we go. So the episode begins on a flashback scene, and we have Alex and Chloe inside the house as their parents are leaving. They're saying their goodbyes as Chloe walks away and Alex's parents ask to talk to him in private. Alex's mom just tells him, hey, no matter what, just please take care of your sister, okay? He hugs them and tells them he loves them. As well, they walk out the door and they leave. Cut back to present day. The horde is closing on the school as Alex, Kelly, and Derek head right back inside the school as everybody's asking what's going on. Derek screams for everybody to get to safety because the horde's coming and they're gonna get in here soon. Judy Judy starts freaking out and says that can they get in here? And Derek says there's glass windows, they're gonna get in here soon and they're coming. Quite a lot of them too. Derek says that get everybody on as many people armed as possible. Whatever there is, everybody needs a weapon, even if they can't fight. The more people survive, the better. We see a bunch of the teachers like in the main room. They have their guns ready, like aim at the glass. As we do see the infected turn towards it and start getting pretty close. We see some shots of two teachers in a room on the second floor. They're aiming a sniper rifle and they're shooting at an infected to come towards, taking out quite a few in the process. And then, well, the infected start getting really close as they're running. Some students are trying to run into the classrooms to get safety, but some of them, they're ready to fight, and they're using any kinds of weapons they have. Some are using extremely sharp pencils, scissors, and other stuff. Derek has an M4A1 now. He got it from back from Shell, who took it away. Shell, that was Judy's original name. Sorry, I'm just used to calling her that. I just like Judy better. Judy took it away and gave it back to him. And all the most of the teachers have bigger guns like rifles and ARs or SMGs, but a few have pistols as well. So, well, and this is where the action begins as the infected gets towards the glass, and there's so many of them that the glass gives pretty much immediately. So the horde begins flowing in as gunshots begin flying towards them. We see some kids try to fight, try to fight as many of them as possible as shots continue to be fired. Derek gets on the second floor because there's a little walkway to get some better shots, and he starts aiming his assault rifle and begins opening fire on them. Shell uses an M19. What do I keep saying? Shell. Judy uses an M1911 to shoot a bunch of the infected herself, and Alex tries to fight by himself too. He doesn't have a reliable weapon, but he does have a pair of scissors. I have extremely sharp scissors, so he uses those to fight. He's not too good at melee combat, but he manages to get close to one and use all the force he has and stick it in the side of the infected's head, giving a really nice little bloody effect and blood splatter off the side. So yeah, the infected are flowing in and the teachers are fighting. Unfortunately, some of the teachers do run out of ammo, and some of these teachers are killed by the incoming horde. They managed to get a pretty good chunk of the horde down. They probably managed to wipe out nearly 2/3 of it with the guns. But now that everybody is nearly out of ammo, it seems it's all melee combat from here. And Alex is looking around screaming for Chloe As he sees Chloe struggling against two infected and she's in trouble, Alex runs at her and immediately stabs one in the back of the head. As he like jumps towards and it's not a knife, it's the scissors. He shoves the scissors in the back of the head of this infected, and then grabs the other by the throat and sticks it and sticks it into the brain from the bottom of the throat. As he helps Chloe up and tells her to get to safety, and Chloe says that she's not going without him. And Alex says that he's staying here. He's making sure as many people get out safe as possible. His friends are still here, and he needs to make sure they're safe. Chloe says that he better not die. If he gets himself hurt, she's gonna kill him. So now the fight continues to happen. The fight continues to happen against the dead. Now that teachers are basically using knives. Some have hatchets and other stuff. Alex goes up to Judy, who's still got a couple bullets left, and asks her where she's keeping the guns. And Judy says that she's not giving a kid a gun. And Alex says that if she doesn't, everybody's gonna die here. So maybe give him the keys to her office if they're in there. Judy says like screw it, hands him the keys and tells him that she better not regret this. Alex begins heading towards the office, but then Alex turns to see Devin fighting against a bunch of the infected. He's using like a pencil to fight them off, but unfortunately it's not exactly enough. He does manage to kill one of them, but unfortunately he is overpowered. And Alex wants to save him, but there's too many on him to be able to do it, so he has to continue walking away as behind him Devin gets brutally torn apart. Devin is now dead. Alex heads into the office, and we see Mike and Corey behind him. And that's what he's doing, and he says that he's getting guns. And he says that if they're going to help him, stay. If not, get to safety. And Mike says that he isn't leaving him. As they head inside the office and they open like a cabinet. And there's a bunch of guns they like in here. A couple handguns, including Alex's. And they have there's 3 machine guns in here. And Alex picks it up and it's pretty heavy, but he says that they're gonna have to try with these. He takes the Glock 2 and he tells Corey and Mike to both take them. They're all able to carry these guns, these machine guns, but these machine guns would be more of SMGs, if anything. It'd be, because I don't know, like 3 like 14-year-olds rocking M4A1s seem to be a bit unrealistic, so it'd probably just be an SMG. So they carry the guns and head back into the main room as the infected continue to eat people. A lot of kids have died now, and the horde has pretty much overpowered everybody in the main room. And we only see a few people still fighting, and it looks like all hope is lost, but then we hear gunshots as we see Alex, Corey, and Mike firing SMGs into the horde. And they just continue, they don't stop firing until every single one of them, well, nearly every single one of them is dead. Because there's still a few more, because after the mag is empty, they don't have any more ammo. But Alex walks up to the last remaining infected, reaches into his pocket, pulls out a handgun that he picked up, and he takes out the rest of the infected. And now the horde is finished. Everybody gathers back up in the main room and looks at each other. There's a lot of sorrow now since so many people have died. I'd say in this whole situation, probably around 30 people have died, and that's both including teacher deaths and, well, student deaths. Everybody gathers around and cries over some corpses. Some were like brothers, sisters, boyfriends, girlfriends. Alex looks at Corey and Mike, tells them nicely done, as they all put down their guns. And Judy's obviously really shocked at what they were capable of, because a bunch of kids being able to take down a bunch of basically like a bunch of those things. She didn't think they'd be able to do that, so she tells them that she didn't expect that to happen. And Alex looks at her and says, "Judy, just be glad it did happen, you know." And Judy agrees and says, "Thanks. You single-handedly saved this place. You know that, right?" And Corey says, "Maybe you should give the kids guns." And Judy says, "Yeah, well," she says, "Yeah, well, I am going to take the guns back." And Judy just says, "But she'll give guns to some of them if things like this happen again. But during a regular day, the guns are going to stay in the hands of the teachers." Judy walks away as everybody just begins to look at each other. Uh, Alex goes up and finds Kelly, and they immediately embrace and kiss. And he's so happy to see her. He says that he was scared, and she smiles and says, "Nice shooting." Alex tells her thank you, and that he didn't think he'd end up doing that, but Alex and Kelly hold hands as they look at every like all these corpses in the main room, and it's obviously a mix of undead corpses, dead infected, and dead students, which some of them have already turned, and they are put down. They are put down by some teachers who have guns and have ammo now. So they Alex asks Kelly about the whole thing with Jonathan and how she feels about what she did. Kelly says that she doesn't really care. She's glad he's gone. He smiles and says that he actually thought she was gonna go with him. And Kelly says that she would die before she even went back with him. She just got close to him so she can take him out. I mean, she says that technically she didn't kill him, the infected did. Alex says that, hey, maybe before I'd be bothered by it, but now he says that he was glad that she is finally able to bury the past now that Jonathan is gone. Alex just looks down and sighs, and Kelly asks what's wrong. Alex says that Devin died. He saw him get killed. Kelly says that she's sorry. He was a good kid. But everybody else is okay. Like everybody else who like wasn't mentioned is alive. So Derek survived. Viola survived. Dean survived. Andrea survived. Cole survived. All these characters like the overall make it to the end of this fight. Then Chloe walks back up to Alex and Kelly, and she again has another like huge fit. She says that she goes up to Chloe and says that Kelly and says that she hopes that she's proud of herself. And Kelly asks what the hell it is now. And Chloe says that like the whole again, it's like she's blaming him for the whole thing with Jonathan again. And she said that if things didn't go back bad with Jonathan, guess what? Jonathan wouldn't have let a horde of infected to the fucking school. And Alex says that tells Chloe to just stop blaming it on her. Stop blaming every single little thing on her. And Chloe tells Alex to just stay out of it. And that she wants to deal with with Kelly herself. Everything that's happened is Kelly's fault. And, well, she's just tired of all this. Of her always putting the group in danger. So many people died. It's that she's had enough of Kelly's shit. Her boyfriend's dead. A bunch of other people are dead. She almost died in the attack, and her brother almost died in the attack. But Alex had told Chloe that he was fine. He managed to handle himself the whole way. She's the one that needed saving, obviously because Alex had to save Chloe's life. But Chloe tells Alex to stay out of it and that she's done with this. She looks she looks Alex in the eye in the most serious way and tells Alex, "Pack your shit. We're leaving in the morning." And Alex says, What are you talking about? Where are we gonna go?" And then Chloe mentions that they're going to Texas to Jeff's house. And Jeff is their uncle. We actually saw him in season 1, episode 4 in the mid season finale in the flashback. She says that hey, Jeff was a survivalist type person. Look, they'll go back to their house, they'll get her car, they should have some gas left, and well, they'll take it, get as far as they can. They'll handle whatever obstacles they have on the way. It's dangerous, but they'll get to Jeff and they'll be able to make it the rest of the way through this. Jeff always knew this type of shit would happen. Maybe okay, walking corpses was a bit far fetched, maybe, but when it came to like the nuclear apocalypse, he was prepared for that. And if anybody can help him survive, it's him. And Alex just tells Chloe that she's a fucking hypocrite. She complains that Kelly is getting him in danger, but what they're doing, this is dangerous. They're in Massachusetts, Texas. Chloe, he's literally like losing his shit on how like she's complaining about obviously again Kelly doing dangerous stuff, but then she is suggesting a cross country journey, and but Chloe says no, she's not being a hypocrite because what they're doing, it's actually gonna have a good effect, and that she knows they'll be able to make it. They'll be able to handle themselves. Plus, it's just the two of them. There won't be anybody to mess them up. Alex Alex says that what are they gonna yeah, what are they gonna do if they do come across a horde? They can't handle a horde by themselves. But Chloe says that they'll worry about that when the time comes, and that she doesn't want to hear any more bickering. And while Chloe says that they're leaving in the morning, and she doesn't want to hear any ifs, ands, or buts, and that she's done with it. She's just done with it. She's just done with the way he's acting, and always just defending her and sticking up for Kelly. Chloe says that she knows that Alex loves Kelly, but it's for his best that he gets away from her. But Kelly steps in and just tells Chloe to screw off, and that her brother, basically referring to Alex, saying that her brother literally did everything to make sure she's here today. She didn't want anything to happen, and well, it just did. Okay, and stop blaming her for stuff that was out of her control. She's sorry about the past. She is sorry about what happened a few years ago. But she needs to grow up. Her brother is suffering because of it. Just let your brother live your life. Chloe just stares Kelly down in the eyes as the two girls again stare each other down. Chloe steps away and looks at Alex and says, We leave at 9 a.m. tomorrow." Now, well, they're getting ready to leave. They're gonna have to get ready to leave. It seems. Alex just looks at her a bit angry, and Kelly asks if he's okay, and she puts her arms around him. And Alex says that he'll be fine, but he's just tired. He's so tired of her. And Kelly says that in a way, she can see where she's coming from, but she doesn't necessarily agree with her. Alex says that she knows she wants to keep him safe, but what she's doing, it's not going to keep him safe. If anything, it's going to put him in more danger. Alex, but Alex says that she's still his sister, so really, he has no choice but to go with her. He feels like he just tells Kelly he's going to have to go with her. he doesn't want to, and he's gonna try to convince her to not go, but he just says that Chloe is still his sister, even though she's acting really awful right now, and he's not gonna be able to live with himself if she just goes out there on her own and he doesn't know what happened to her. Kelly says that she can't blame him as she hugs him and tells him that she just doesn't want to be away from him. And Alex holds her and says, neither does he, but he has to put his family first. I mean, Kelly tells him to meet her in the gym in 30 minutes and says, "Hey, let's have fun. Let's have a fun last night. Let's enjoy ourselves. Just do some activities together. Do something crazy for our last night together." But Alex says it's not gonna be their last night together. He doesn't think. Maybe for now, but they will see each other again. He promises. Alex heads off as we see like the bodies beginning to get dragged out. Some teachers are bringing like the infected corpses are being brought outside to be burnt, and we just see a montage of people outside. We see Mr. Quartz and Cassie. Well, William Quartz. I'll just say William. I need to say William, not Mr. Quartz, because it's confusing. William and Cassie are digging graves for the fallen, and well, Alex just sits at a table alone and just doesn't really think about much. We see behind him, we hear a voice, and it's actually Dean who comes up to him and sits next to him and asks if he's okay. Alex says that he just immediately opens up and says that he's leaving with his sister tomorrow for Texas. And Dean asks why, and Alex says that his sister is just not in a good mental state and she's freaking out about something dumb, but he doesn't agree with it. But at the same time, his sister is still his sister, so he has to go with her. Dean says that as somebody who's an orphan and had lost his whole family when he was young, he says that he can agree with Alex's decision because his foster family wasn't exactly great, and when you have family, you should treasure it and want to stay with it for as long as possible because you don't know when you're going to lose it. Alex thanks him for what he said, and tells Dean that he's hoping that they can eventually all see each other again. And he says that he apologizes for like not really like talking to him much before all this. And Dean says that Alex had his own things to do, so did he. Nothing to worry about. Dean leaves and Alex just continues to sit down. And he gets up and he actually does meet up with Corey and Mike, and he talks to them for a while. And they have a bit of dialogue, and Alex again explains to them that he's leaving in the morning. They're a bit shocked and asked if they're saying his sister is acting out of line and that he shouldn't have to listen to her. He needs to start defying her, you know? Alex says he wants to, and there's nothing more he wants to do than be with Kelly. He says that Kelly's the love of his life, and now Corey and Mike are like family to him, but in the end, he does have to put family first, and sometimes it has to be the blood family, you know? Chloe is everything to him, still. Even the way she's acting, she's still his sister, and he has to do everything he can to make sure she's okay. And he knows that if he lets her go off on her own, he says he doesn't even know if she would go alone, but she wouldn't make it alone, so he needs to be there with her to make sure she gets there safely. Corey just tells Alex to just fight against her. Continue persisting. Try to make her see another way, but Alex says that he is going to try, but he knows Chloe pretty well, and when it comes to changing her mind, that's the last thing Chloe will do. So unfortunately, he thinks he will be leaving in the morning. So he just he wants to just thanks Mike and Corey for everything they've done. And this is supposed to be almost like a goodbye scene. It's at least built up to be a goodbye. Alex tells Mike and Corey to just keep going, to make sure they live, and that one day he hopes that he'll be back and they can finally see each other again. He just tells them to keep going and stay strong. Even with him gone, he knows that they can make it. They're capable. And he just wants to. He just doesn't want any more people to die while he's gone, especially while he's gone. Mike says that he doesn't agree with his decision, but he respects it, and Corey says the same. They all exchange goodbyes, and Alex says that they'll be able to say goodbye to him in the morning. He's leaving at 9 a.m. So Alex does meet up with Alex now does meet up with Kelly in the gym, and they talk to each other, and they do like share a kiss as they meet up, and they're all completely alone in the gym. I would just think like the gym is like completely empty, even though realistically I guess they would have people sleeping in here, but for plot's sakes we're gonna say it's empty. So Alex and Kelly are like, we just a montage of them playing like basketball and stuff, and they try to like keep not play too loud, obviously, to not draw the dead, but they're having fun, and they have a pretty good game, and Alex ends up beating Kelly by 1 point. And Alex says that even though he won, he says he's surprised to see how good she is at basketball. And Kelly laughs and says she plays quite a lot actually, so she is pretty good. I mean, she was gonna try to be on the girls' basketball team, but you know, it just didn't come to mind. I guess it just didn't happen, and she procrastinated and just didn't go to tryouts. Well, Alex says that right now, being good at basketball doesn't seem to be too good of a skill. Kelly makes a joke saying, "Nah, she'll next time she sees an infected, she's gonna lob a basketball at it." And Alex says they may be rotted corpses, but yeah, it's gonna take more than a basketball to kill an infected. Alex sits down on a bench and pulls out a water bottle, and takes a sip. Kelly asks if she can have some, and obviously, Alex lets her drink from it. They begin having a talk about everything, and Kelly Kelly says that she can't believe he's leaving, and Alex says he can't believe it either. He says if it's any consolation, he doesn't want to, but at the same time, he can't let his sister be out there alone. But he promises he's going to do everything he can to make sure they come back eventually. Kelly looks at Alex and kisses him and says that she doesn't know what she's going to do without him. I mean, for the first time, he's the first guy that she's dated that didn't act like some complete dominant asshole who like wanted to control everything. Like what she says that when she was with Jonathan, her thoughts, her emotions weren't a weren't of importance to him, you know. And well, when it comes to Alex, he wants to do everything to make sure she's okay, and that he he truly does love her. And wants to he loves her for who she is and not for like how she looks and like how she acts sometimes. Alex says that he's glad that he's with her though. He says that even before it all started, like he's honestly kind of been in love with her for quite a while. I mean, Kelly says that she honestly wasn't surprised, but she's glad that he did, and that now that they're a couple, Alex puts her arm around her and they just have a nice little conversation. They just talk about a bunch of other stuff, some happy memories. They would talk about stuff from before the apocalypse, try to have a nice little lighthearted scene, and how And then Alex says that one day, if this all ends and they're older, he's gonna take her to a nice resort, and they're gonna go on a nice vacation together, and they're gonna have a really good time. They're gonna drink, they're gonna get drunk, they're gonna party, and it's gonna be the best trip of their lives. And he says that if things ever happen to go back to normal, he promises he will do that for her. Kelly smiles and tells Alex that she'll take him up on that, and that, well, he better keep his word to that. He smiles and says that he will. Kelly asks a bit about his uncle, whose name is Jeff. I mean, Kelly would know him a little bit. I would think that Kelly had met him once or twice, but Alex just says that Jeff is a bit of a survivalist. For quite a long time, he's always been obsessed with like nuclear fallout and like the Third World War being the end of everything and leaving nothing but a wasteland. So he has like everything you would need. He had a survival bunker in his house, survival skills, knew how to he grew crops. He grew crops in the basement of his house. He had a lot of stuff going for him. So he says he understands why Chloe would want to go to him. Kelly laughs and says, I mean, at least Chloe's smart about one thing. Maybe not smart about the method of getting there, but going there, smart. It's smart, I guess. He says he just hopes that they'll make the journey. I mean, it's they're going cross country. You know, it's going cross country is a big deal. And well, now but now we see a figure walk into the gym, and this figure is actually Chloe, who looks at them, and like this is like as like Alex and Kelly like do begin making out a little bit, and Chloe looks at them really like pissed off, and she just begins screaming at the top of her lungs, and she just like, you really don't freaking listen to me, right? And Alex says that he's so done with her bullshit, and walks up to her, and Chloe just says, and she's fed up with him just not obeying what she says and having to respect her. She's an authority figure, and he's gonna listen to her. She doesn't care. She doesn't exactly care. And Kelly goes up to her and tells her to just stop. Don't. She just says, don't take Alex away from this. She says that her brother is so happy right now. Don't take that happiness away from him. But Chloe says, right now, her brother's safety is more important than his happiness. And she just lost it. She tells Alex, pack your shit now. We're leaving. And Alex says, what are you talking about? You said in the morning. And Chloe says she knows what he said, but no. He clearly can't be trusted on his own, so they're going to leave now. And Alex says no, he's not going anywhere with her. He's done. He's done with her being so controlling. And he goes up to her face and just tells her he was going to go with her before, but now, no. She doesn't know how she's acting, and she doesn't see it. So he just tells Chloe, you want to go? You want to go on your own? You want to go off on your own and risk it? Go ahead. But I'm staying here. And he begins walking away, but Chloe grabs his arm, tries to pull him back, and Alex tells Chloe not to freaking touch him, as he immediately jolts away, and this leads Chloe to freak out, and she slaps him to the ground pretty hard, and he falls to the ground, and Kelly goes down to him and checks him out to make sure he's okay. And like he's holding his face because she hit him really hard, and Chloe is obviously really shocked by what she did. As she begins slowly walking away, Kelly looks up at Chloe and says, hope you're proud of yourself. I hope you're proud of yourself." And well, she just leaves. As Alex just looks at her leaving, and doesn't say anything. Alex gets up and begins walking away. Doesn't even say anything as Kelly follows him. We cut to a little later. Alex is inside of a little like janitor's closet alone. As the door open as the door opens and we see we see Kelly who walks in. Cassie is actually there too. And Alex says how they found him. And Kelly says that Cass told her that he used to come in here sometimes when he got upset over something. Cassie tells Alex that she heard what happened and she asks if he's okay about the slap. And Alex says he doesn't care about the injury. He can handle it. He's gotten worse, but he's just so tired of his sister's behavior. He loves her, but he hates the way she's acting. And she wants to leave now, and he doesn't want to go with her. Well, now well, he wants to hate her, but he can't bring himself to. Cassie says that that's normal, and he should never hate his sister, even with the way she's acting. Cassie says that she'll leave Kelly and Alex alone for a while. Kelly thanks Cassie for the help, and Cassie says no problem and hopes that they can sort it out. Kelly sits next to Alex and begins comforting him. She puts her arm around him, and Alex does rest his head on her shoulder, and he begins actually crying a little bit and says that he's not going with Chloe. He's just saying he's no matter how much she pressures him, he's not going. He's staying with Kelly. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. At this point, he maybe being away from his sister is actually going to be good for the both of them. But Kelly says that Chloe isn't going to stop harassing him about it, though. She feels she's going to keep bothering him, and, well, there's nothing he can really do about it. Alex says he'll figure a way. I mean, eventually he'll just tell her to leave. He'll just hope that she does eventually decide to leave him alone and go on her own for a while. Maybe it can be a wake-up call. And then Kelly turns to Alex and says that she has an idea, but it's a bit ambitious and might not be the smartest. Alex asks what this idea is, and well, Kelly says they could take a vehicle, her and him, and just go off for a while. Alex turns to Kelly and asks if she's suggesting them run away together before things get too bad. And Kelly says, yeah. She says that her father's truck, I mean, she doesn't think she'll be able to get the keys for that, but there is a mechanic shop nearby with some cars. Kelly says that she knows a thing or two about hot wiring, so she could go there, hot wire something, and they can get out for a while. Kelly says that she won't force him to do it, but she says that maybe it'll work. Maybe them running away. Maybe this could be a wake-up call for Chloe that she can't act the way she is, otherwise it's going to lead to her brother doing reckless things. Alex says that he pauses to think about it for a minute, but then he turns to Kelly and says, as long as I get to be with you, I'll do anything. And well, Kelly says, okay. She tells him to stay here, not to draw any attention. She's going to sneak out, go to this mechanic shop, and, well, get a car, and she'll pick him up in front of the school, and they'll begin driving away. Maybe someone might see them, but no one will be able to stop them, so, yeah. They share one last kiss before Kelly walks out. And then right as she walks out, Chloe walks in. And I'll just say Chloe eavesdropped on this. She doesn't say immediately that she did, but she sits down and sits in front of her brother, and she apologizes for hitting him. Alex says that it's fine, and he's not mad about that. He's just mad about her behavior, and that she needs to let him grow up. And Chloe says that she's sorry for acting harsh on him, and she knows it's not something that he wants, but she's got to do what she can to protect him now. She loves him, and he's her little brother, and she can't live with herself if something bad happens to him. and because of that, she feels all the responsibility to protect him. But Alex says that it feels more like he's been the one protecting her since it started. So she should stop. She should stop lying to herself because mom and dad were right. You know, their parents were right. Alex is the one who has to protect his sister and keep her safe. Alex just asked Chloe to leave him alone, and well, Kelly just came in to say that they're gonna leave. They're gonna be leaving in about 30 minutes to an hour. So she just tells him to say his goodbyes, and she says that she's sorry, and then she gets up and begins walking to that she's also sorry about. And Alex goes up to her and asks what she's sorry about, and Chloe turns to Alex and we see Chloe has a gun on her side that she managed to get, and she just says that she's sorry about this as she pushes Alex down, heads and then she heads out the janitor's closet, shuts the door, grabs a chair from that's outside in the hallway, and pins it against the door to stop Alex from getting out. And Alex screams at Chloe about what the hell she's doing. And Chloe says that he's not going to understand, but eventually he will. She's doing this for him. She's doing this for them. As she begins running off, and Alex begins knocking maniacally on the door, screaming for help. As we hear Mike heading towards it, and he then opens the door and asks what the hell's going on. And he sees Alex in there, and he says they need to go now. He says Keller's in danger, and he asks what's happening. And Alex says he'll explain everything, but they need to go to the mechanic shop now. And Mike says, are you sure? But Allison says, you know what? Look, if you want to come, it's fine, but I'd appreciate it if you could come to help me with this. Mike says, fine, I'll go with you, but I'll go with you. So they begin heading towards the main entrance as Mr. Quartz or William encounters them. William asks them what's going on, and Alex looks at William and says, "Give me your gun." And William's really confused, and he says he can't just do that. But Alex says, "Look," he says he'll explain everything, but he needs his gun. This is an emergency, and that there's lives might be at stake if he doesn't have it. William is confused, but he gives Alex his gun and tells him not to do anything stupid. As Alex heads out with Mike. We cut to a shot at this mechanic shop, and inside of it we have Kelly, who's she's modifying a car. Well, not modifying it, but she's looking in it, and it seems to be intact. She's checking the engine, gas tank, and it seems to be completely intact. But then, as she's checking the trunk, we hear a gun cock behind her, and obviously behind her it's Chloe who's holding a handgun, and she's aiming at Kelly. Back with Alex and Mike, we see them running down the road as they reach the mechanic shop, and they open the door and head into the they head inside, and they see obviously Chloe holding Kelly at gunpoint in the back of the room. And Alex walks in and tells Chloe to stop, and he begs her to stop. And Alex asks what the hell he's doing, and how he got out. And Alex says that's none of her business, and that she needs to stop what she's doing. He knows what she's gonna do, and whatever she's doing, she needs to stop. But Chloe says that she knows he's not gonna understand now, but she's doing this for the best. It's for the benefit of everybody that she does this. If she kills Kelly, everything will fall into place, and everything will be better for all of them. They'll be able to live a lot better together. Kelly just says her and Alex won't have to worry about. Chloe says her and Alex won't have to worry about anything stopping them from being safe. And with Kelly gone, there's not going to be something causing a disruption between their relationship. Chloe just goes on to say that she overheard them running away. What Kelly's doing, it's her fault that her and her brother's relationship is the way it is now. She tells Alex that she feels like she's almost doing it on purpose. That she's using Alex just to get back at Chloe, to just mess with Chloe more. But then Kelly just steps in and says that she didn't, especially now in the new world. Petty drama in New World is gone. Kelly just tells Chloe that the past is dead, and that it's a new world now, and she just needs to stop. But Chloe tells Kelly to shut up or she shoots. Mike slowly goes up to Chloe and just tells her to lower it, and he just tells Chloe that if Chloe kills her, what is that going to do for you and your brother's relationship? And Chloe says it's going to fix it eventually. And then Alex screams at Chloe and says no. He just says, if she does this, it's going to be over between them. Their relationship is going to be gone. And he's never going to forgive her if she pulls the trigger. But Chloe says that he's just telling himself that, and that's what he thinks, but he won't think that in the future. Chloe just tells Alex to just go. He doesn't have to watch this. She begs him to just get out of here. Same for Mike. But, look, Chloe just begs her, and she says that Chloe can hate her all she likes. She can take the hate. But don't do this to your brother. Kelly says that if she's gone, she doesn't want to see the way Alex will be. She doesn't want to see Alex hate his own sister for the rest of his life and mentally struggling. He's lost enough. And Kelly just tells Chloe to put down the gun and they can move on from all this. They can move on. They can forget about this. Alex just begs Chloe to listen to her. And Mike just says, don't do this. Chloe lowers the gun for a second and reconsiders, but then, raises the gun again as Mike walks up to her in front of her and just says to put down the gun slowly as he begins slowly heading towards her, and Chloe tells Mike to stay back or she'll shoot. And Mike says he won't. And Alex again tells Chloe, lower the damn gun right now. And Mike slowly heads towards Chloe, but then, Chloe freaks out and pulls the trigger and shoots Mike in the stomach. And he drops to his knees and looks up as Chloe freaks out again and puts the bullet in Mike's head. Mike is dead. And there's kind of a shock that happens and everybody freezes. But this leads to Alex to pull out the gun that William gave him, and he aims at Chloe. And he begs Chloe to drop the gun now. Now that Chloe's basically killed his best friend. And Kelly's just looking at Mike's body and she can't believe what Chloe just did. Chloe turns around in shock, obviously, to see her own brother aiming a handgun at her. But she just says, this is all her that did this to you. As in slow motion, we see a slow motion shot of Chloe raising the gun back to Kelly. And then Alex begins to tear up as he screams for Kelly to hit the deck. And then he shoots and pulls the trigger, shooting Chloe in the shoulder. And then Chloe turns around, looks at Alex in the eyes, shocked that her brother just shot him. And, this leads to Chloe aiming the gun again, getting ready to actually kill Kelly, but Kelly tackles her and begins fighting for the gun. They fight for the gun and they struggle as shots begin to fire off. But then one bullet from the gun like a stray bullet, flies out and hits a propane tank as there's a massive explosion, and as the screen goes black. We see a desolate shot while quiet music plays over the daytime at the mechanic shop. We see the camera pan over a bunch of dead infected, and now it pans over inside the shop, mechanic shop. We see a shot of Mike, who is obviously dead, his dead corpse. Chloe is nowhere to be found, and we see Kelly, who's pressed up against the wall. She has some bruises and cuts, but she does get up as she turns and sees Alex on the ground, and he is extremely badly injured, and she begins freaking out as she picks him up. He has like a piece of metal in his stuck in his body, and he has like cuts all over him. He has severe bruises all over his body. He is severely injured from this explosion.